following is a paid advertisement program provided by Premier Investments and Wealth Management. An airing of the program is not to be considered an endorsement or recommendation. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts, guests and callers and not necessarily of KFXR or iHeartMedia. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide tax advice. Please consult your tax professional. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. There's no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal.
The views and opinions of this show are those of Premier Investments and Wealth Management, their guests alone, and do not reflect any other entities. The information in the following program should not be construed as an offer to sell and is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax advisor or legal counsel. Statements in this program do not reflect those of Premier Investments and Wealth Management, LPL Financial, or their affiliates. Well, hey there. Welcome to the Premier Investment Financial Hour right here on your radio worldwide via the free iHeartRadio app. Talk Radio 1190 AM. It's at 1190talkradio.com. My name is Doug Wagner, and I need to introduce somebody to you. Well, he needs no introduction because you've heard him here before. You've seen him here before. Roger Abel is an accredited investment fiduciary with over 21 years of experience in the financial services industry, owner and wealth advisor at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Roger Abel, otherwise known as the Big Kahuna. Did you have a good Labor Day?
It was great, Doug.
Awesome.
Actually, it was pretty laid back. We typically travel to the lake for Labor Day, but we stayed around here, celebrated my 46th birthday on Saturday.
Happy birthday.
And did a little Hawkeye tailgating, pre-gaming at pool. It was fun.
So instead of being the big, you were like the Big Kahuna.
Yeah, I was manning the new Blackstone grill.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
Yeah, I was apprehensive about it for a while. Mm-hmm. I was worried about the maintenance, taking care of it, but it's really easy.
Yeah. Well, good deal.
No
when you
mess
get
in
a
my
new
house.
toy, that's one of the fun things about it is to be able to do that. When you get something new, you get sort of fixated on it. We would like for you to become fixated on one thing. At premieriwm.com, click Get Started in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Answer a few questions. You'll be provided what's called a one-page Premier Vision document, sort of like a one-page My Financial Confidence score. And it gives you an idea. Am I ready for retirement? Am I ready for my kids' education when they're getting ready to go off to college? And maybe I want to pay for some of that. Or how about that dream purchase, whether it's a dream home or maybe a hunting cabin or a cottage or something. Maybe it's a boat. I don't know. Maybe you want a boat. Whatever it is, you can have your friends at Premier Investments and Wealth Management help you get to that point in the future. And Roger, it really is just as easy as a click of the mouse a few times answering some questions. That's the most important thing because it's a very low barrier to entry, as they call it.
Yeah, we're looking to help people, and ultimately they come to our website. We connect them with one of our local advisors, and we walk them through our 5-step planning process. And the goal of this is to provide people with a higher level of financial confidence and more sense of financial direction going forward.
It's perfect. PremierIWM.com is the website. Phone number 800-383-6590. That's 800-383-6590. With no further ado, let's continue with the program. Roger Abel with Premier Investments and Wealth Management. 6 retirement myths that you should not believe. You know what? We hear about it because it's silly season, election season. Misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. Well, the thing that you say, Roger, is that, you know what, people can talk about this all they want, but what you're trying to do is equip people with the correct information so that they can separate myth from fact. Now, back when I was a kid, I remember this because my mom and dad weren't, my dad invested in mutual funds, but it, wasn't enough, didn't make enough to where it could really make a huge difference the way it might have for other people. So the idea of living off Social Security alone was one of those things that might have been able to be pulled off years ago. Now, really no way that you're going to be able to do that. That is a myth, in fact, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you think about why Social Security was created, it was created to supplement. It was never designed to be 100% of somebody's retirement.
Right.
And in our society is morphed into the number one income source for retirees. Guaranteed income source now is Social Security.
Wow.
And your Social Security check may be enough in the very early stages of retirement. So let's say you wait on your Social Security till you're 70, you retire at 70, and you're fortunate you have a check that's $3,500 a month.
Yeah.
That may provide for you at that point in time. But over time, inflation's going to creep in and rear its ugly head, and your spending power is going to be diminished. And ultimately, it's probably not going to be a lifestyle that somebody really wants or desires to have all the way through retirement. So if your plan is to live on just Social Security, that's a dangerous plan. It becomes a little more dangerous if there's a husband and wife who are still married, because many people forget you're going to lose one of those checks when your spouse passes away.
Okay.
So if you have a husband and wife who their combined Social Security check is $6,000, $3,000 each, they might be living just fine.
Right.
As soon as one dies, we're at $3,000.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't plan for that. So this is why getting ahead of this and planning 20, 25, 30 years in the future becomes ultra important. In fact, for many of our younger individuals that we work with in families, we'll exclude some Social Security benefits, just assuming we don't have what we think we're going to have. And that's a way to be ultra conservative in the planning process.
Financial plan is critical in order to make sure that this is pulled off correctly. Now, for people who are interested in finding out more about Social Security, SSA.gov is the website. You can actually go there and sign up on the website so that you can get regular both email information, or they will also snail mail you information with regard to your Social Security account. I believe it's on a yearly basis, isn't it?
They don't mail it.
They don't
mail. I think they mail every 5 years, but I have a question for you. I'm going to pose this to you. When was the last time you received one in the mail?
It was actually a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And it was legit, because I actually took down to my congressional representative's office, said, "Hey, is this legit?" Like, yep.
So the question is, for individuals under 35, how many of them have seen their statement?
Ooh, yeah, good question.
And, the Social Security system's under pressure.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know what your benefit is, do you actually know what they reduced your benefit?
Good question.
Because I haven't seen a statement.
Right.
For like 10 years. I'm
Yeah.
sure I haven't. I'm not sure. I don't even know what the mailing. I know they don't mail them every year now. The best way, if you want to know what your benefit is SSA.gov. And just for those people who out there who are trying to figure out, I've only been working 10 years. What am I really going to get? They base your benefit off your highest 40 quarters of working. So, and for those people who believe that it's going to go away, it's not going to likely go away. It is going to change. I expect change. I believe it's policy that it's right now, if it doesn't get shored up, there's going to be a 25-ish% reduction, might be 22. But if you just plan on a 25% reduction, then you won't be surprised.
Okay.
Do you ever feel like your financial goals are just out of reach? It's time to take control of your future with Premier Investments and Wealth Management, your partner in financial independence. Imagine a financial plan that's as individual as you are. At Premier Investments and Wealth Management, our team of experienced advisors will work closely with you to create a roadmap tailored to your dreams, whether it's buying a home, retiring comfortably, or starting a business. We believe in transparency and education. We'll help simplify complex financial concepts, provide clear guidance, and empower you to make informed decisions. Financial wellness is within your grasp. Visit www.premieriwm.com to schedule a meeting with an experienced advisor today.
Works well. Roger Abel, the Premier Investments and Wealth Management, the Premier and Wealth Management Financial Program here on Talk Radio 1190 AM. Also listen at 1190talkradio.com or the iHeartRadio app worldwide. Myth number 2. You'll have enough money to retire if you invest up to your 401k match. It's a myth, you say.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
And here's why. There's a lot of factors that are going to determine how you do or how well you do in retirement. And the number one factor is how much money do you actually spend? That's one.
Right.
Two, just doing the 401k match, typically a good match might be, I put in 5, the company gives me 5.
Right.
So you're getting 10%. Well, if you don't start saving in your 401k till you're 55, saving 10% for 10 years won't cut it.
Right.
Conversely, if you started the day you started working, it might work out. This is what we call blanket advice, Doug, where, hey, someone just threw a rule of thumb out there and said, hey, if you do this, you'll be okay. Well, you're kind of rolling your dice with your retirement at that point. It's part of the reason we take everybody through, whether they're 25, 20, 72, we're going to take them through this process to make sure they know what their contribution number needs to be. I'm going to give you a great example. About a week ago, I had a customer of mine, client, come in, and they just took a new job. And the old job they had, 401k. So in their mind, it's the 401k world. The new job has a pension.
Oh.
And the number one question he wants to know is, with the new pension, assuming I work until 67, how much do I need to be saving in addition to that pension? So we're going to back into the numbers because maybe it's 3%, 5%, 8%. We don't know.
Right.
But we're going to dial it in to make sure he's able to accomplish exactly what his goals are versus just saying, well, I no longer have a 401k or a 401k match, so I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because this says if you invest up to the 401k match, which in this case there is 0, right? If you have a 401k match at 0, you wouldn't invest.
Well, some companies, their 401k match did turn into 0 because they did that whole, So I understand what you're saying.
You'll find a lot of small employers don't match on a 401k. It's a benefit they're offering, but it's really just employee contributions.
Yeah. Big employers too. Yeah. So anyway... So I've had to up my game. Let's just put it that way.
Up your game on your investment. Oh yeah. Well, and it depends on when you start. I mean, we like to tell people 15% is probably the number you need to be at. But if you're 50 and never saved any money, you might need to be at 20 or 25.
Yeah.
The only real way to know is to just get in, walk through a financial plan, back into the numbers. Hey, I'm spending $6,000 a month now. How much now do I need to save? To get me to where I want to go at 65. It's not that hard. It just requires a little bit of work and effort.
Roger, is there a maximum amount that you can put into a 401k at some point, or is it a maximum percentage, or how does that work? Dollar amount?
Yeah, it depends upon your age.
Okay.
In 2024, assuming you're under age 50, you can do $23,000 is the maximum contribution to a Roth or Roth 401k plan.
Okay.
If you're over 50, you get an additional $7,500 as a catch-up.
Okay, so
and
roughly 30.
Some plans allow some after-tax contributions. Regardless of what you're doing, the maximum amount between your contributions and the employer contributions, the maximum you can do combined is about $69,000. It's the most you can get in there. So
makes sense.
If someone has questions, you can reach out to us at 800-383-6590. We're happy to help you out with that.
Read my mind, premieriwm.com. You can also go over there and ask questions through the website. You can see the folks who are working with you. Also, click on Get Started, and you can do the one-page My Financial Premier Vision document. It's one of those things where you answer a couple of questions. They provide for you a document. It's really your doorway into your financial future, along with the show, Premier Investments and Wealth Management Program here on Talk Radio 1190 AM, also on 1190talkradio.com, and over the World Wide Web via the free iHeartRadio app. We're talking about the 6 retirement myths you shouldn't believe. You'll work through retirement. Now, this is funny because I am convinced that I'm going to work through, because for me, this is the best paying hobby I've ever had. And I love this. For me, it's not work. I just come here every day. If I win the lottery, I may do it.
So you want to work because you like work.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me they're going to work because they actually don't want to be that financially responsible.
Okay.
And I like to talk to people about, okay, you want to work all the way through, but what's your financial independence age? When are you going to be financially independent?
Yeah.
Because that's really the number people should dial in. What is the age if I need to shut it down? I can. Not everybody has the choice to work all the way through their retirement. In fact, there was a retirement confidence survey that was done. 49% of workers actually leave the workforce earlier than planned. So, okay, you're planning to work until you're 70. There's a 50% chance you won't. And everybody thinks it's because it's bad stuff. It's not. Some of it's bad, okay? 31% is due to hardship.
Yeah.
They death, disability, they physically can't do it. Well, if your financial plan was to work all the way through retirement, there's a 50% chance it's going to blow up. And I hear that a lot, especially from people who own businesses. We're the worst at it. Oh, I'm just going to work forever. And a lot of business owners use that as a reason why they're not saving. I'm going to put it into my business. I'm going to work forever. Okay. 50% chance you're not. About 39% of the people find they can afford to do it sooner than they thought.
Okay.
And I actually believe many people overestimate how much they're going to spend in retirement. And part of what we try to do is educate people on how people spend money, not just the software and the math, but this is the reality of how people spend money.
It's the way, the psychology of investing in the way you spend. You guys do a really good job at that.
So think about this. If you're 50 and you have a mortgage, you got kids in the house, your budget is totally different than when everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Right? It could be half. So all of a sudden people get to 65 and like, man, I don't need $8,000 a month. I only need $5,000. I think I can do it now. Or all of a sudden the things that are in front of them just aren't as expensive as they thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example, Doug. When we do a financial plan for people, we ask them, we work off a goals-based plan, meaning, hey, my goal is to spend X amount a month. Say it's $10,000. It's an easy number. $10,000 a month. And we assume we are going to increase their spending every year.
Okay.
So let's just use 3%. So next year we need $10,300 a month. And inflation. Do you know how many people actually come in or call up every year and say, hey, give me a 3% pay raise on my distribution check?
Probably hardly any of them.
None.
Yeah.
None. Nobody raises how much they take out. It's amazing. And here's why. Typically, people are going to have their largest spend or largest percentage of outflows early in retirement.
Go-go.
The go-go phase.
Yeah.
We're sitting back, we're taking the vacations, we're hanging out with our family, going and seeing our kids,
buying the stuff that you didn't get to buy when you
shopping on Amazon all day.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you're doing, it's the go-go phase. So you're used to spending that amount of money. And then ultimately you shift to this slow go phase, which isn't bad, just means you've kind of done everything.
Yeah.
And I ask people this a lot. Go poll a bunch of people between 75 and 85 and find out how much money they're spending in relation to what they did their first 10 years. It's almost always less. And that's actually the period of time we start to see people who are literally living off just their Social Security check.
Yeah.
Because they don't have anything to buy. Everything's paid for. They're just hanging out, hanging with their family. The trips to Canada are done, or, Mexico, Europe, those are done. They're taking local trips that are less expensive. And then ultimately, you'll see that maybe the highest spend late in retirement if you need nursing home or whatever. But that's one of the reasons people actually retire early. They realize they can do it. Yeah. It's not always because of something bad.
No, and that makes sense too. The idea of being able to afford to retire earlier, and your life changes, and maybe you become a grandparent, and you want to spend time with the grandkids. Whereas before you were like, "Ooh, I'm married to my job." Now you want to be grandma or grandpa, and that makes a huge difference. Talking with Roger Abel from Premier Investments and Wealth Management, 800-383-6590 is the telephone number, or go to premieriwm.com to check them out. We're talking about the 6 retirement myths you shouldn't believe. Halfway through, and we have just a few minutes left. Myth: Medicare covers all of your medical expenses. Medicare is probably one of the most confusing things about retirement for people. How do you demystify it for them, Roger?
Think about it this way. Medicare will cover a majority of your medical expenses. You'll need, if you want more covered, you're going to have to add in some kind of a supplemental policy or advantage plan. I think the two things that people are shocked that Medicare doesn't cover, vision and dental.
Okay.
Medicare does not cover vision or dental.
And so you have to get a supplemental if you want that.
Well, and most true supplemental plans don't cover that either.
Right.
Advantage plans will meld that together, but there's deductibles and co-payments associated with Medicare. Go to your local Medicare office. They're in every state. Have somebody help you, not just an agent. Go find a local Medicare office that specializes in this stuff to help you navigate to make sure you get the coverages that you need for your family are going to work best for you.
Okay. Yeah, and even just there, what you were saying is that all those things in there, it can make people nervous and it can make them really go, you know what, maybe I don't want to do this. But the important thing that you're saying is that grab the bull by the horns when you're young and you won't have to wrestle that thing down when you're older.
For sure.
Yeah. Get in touch with them at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Let's see. Retirement myth number 5 of 6 that you shouldn't believe. It's too late to save for retirement. I'm, mid-50s, 60s. I can see in the horizon there. And even, for somebody my age, it's not too bad. But the thing is how you're going to have to do it. What do you mean? Obviously, the sooner that you start saving for retirement, the better. But is there a time where it's too late to start saving for retirement, Roger?
So I'm actually going to say yes and no.
Okay.
Okay. If you're, 5 years out, you got plenty of time. If you're a week away, it doesn't matter. Even if you're within a year, I tell people, if you're within 1 or 2 years of retirement, saving a lot more money is not going to be that impactful because you're not giving the money the ability to earn compound interest. I have seen people over a 7-year period of time drastically change their retirement outcome through diligent saving and investing. That's enough time, but 2 years, it's not going to drastically change. You're either going to have to work longer or spend less. That's really the outcomes for you. But for the most part, I've never met anybody in 20 plus years that's ever told me they wish they would have saved less for retirement. No one's ever said that in the history of saving.
Yeah.
In a world filled with financial complexity, who will help guide you toward a brighter financial future? Look no further than Premier Investments and Wealth Management, your partner in financial success. At Premier Investments and Wealth Management, our commitment goes beyond numbers. It's about understanding your unique goals, dreams, and challenges. Our financial planning process is personalized to help you implement strategies designed with the goal of maximizing your outcomes. Whether it's saving for retirement, building wealth, or preserving your family's future, we've got you covered. Our mission is to simplify the complex world of finance and empower you to make smart, informed decisions. Ready to take control of your financial destiny? Visit www.premieriwm.com to get started. Premier Investments and Wealth Management, where your financial independence begins.
It's interesting because there's so many people right now in this society in which we live. If you look back 3 years ago and we had a record amount saved, and now that's been obliterated and we have a record amount of debt.
Credit card debt.
Yeah. Delinquencies. Yeah, it's huge. And part of it is I think that people, rather than maybe saving for retirement, they're spending everything. But if you just take, for example, you go to wherever you are, Amazon, and you click there and you put it in the cart, do me a favor before you click buy on that last second thing. I just did it today. It was going to be $28.55 for something I was going to buy. And I took it out of there and I said, I really don't need that. And I literally took $28.55 from my checking account and I put it into savings so that I can add it to the amount that I'm going to come back over here and write a check to you guys for my IRA.
You must have had a good financial coach.
It was Premier Investments and Wealth Management. PremierIWM.com.
You know what? So that's interesting. So we've just started a new rule because we're online shoppers and it's easy to just, I need this, click, click, click. And we're accumulating more stuff, right? We have a couple little kids, so more stuff.
Yeah.
I said, new rule. However many items comes in, that's how many items are leaving.
Yeah.
Because my wife's like, we're running out of room. I'm like, no, we're not.
Talking
we're not.
With we had a garden party here over the Labor Day weekend. We were talking with some people, some friends, high school friends of ours. They moved in down the street, and he says, man, we've got so much space that we have to be able to, we've got so much storage space. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Just put big caution tape over the doors and one of those to make sure you don't fill it up. So easy to do so.
Totally.
Roger, we've got one final myth that we need to crack here real quick before we end our time together here. Myth, you can financially guess your way to retirement.
Well, you could. Mm-hmm. That's called an outcome. Good or bad. Whether it's an outcome that you desire in retirement, I don't know.
That's fine.
With the world of financial planning today and technology, there's really no reason that somebody is not out there getting a financial plan done. And if you had one done 4 years ago and it was printed out and thrown in a drawer, that's no longer a financial plan.
No.
That's a relic. Financial planning today should be very dynamic, interactive, being able to make changes on the fly. We believe in a dynamic plan, not a static plan.
Yeah.
And the reason is we want people to get the most optimal and most enjoyable retirement possible. Well, that's the goal of most people.
Right.
It's not just to get an outcome. And trust me, there are people who've done this themselves and they're happy with their outcome. Could it have been better? Maybe.
It's interesting because you say dynamic, but you want it to be proactive, not reactive.
Well, yeah, the way to be proactive is, most people with investing are reactive.
Yeah.
Let's just call it the person who's doing it themselves in their 401k, they're 100% reactive. The market went up or the market went down, and that drives my decision. Where when you get a financial plan done, the investment decisions are driven by the results of the plan. So, good example, you've been 100% stock or stock mutual funds,
right?
Whatever investment you're buying, that's stock. And you run this financial plan. It says, hey, for you to have the optimal outcome in retirement, you need to have 80% stock. The market's at all-time highs.
Yeah.
Wouldn't now be the time to reallocate into that position versus waiting until the market goes down and be like, oh boy, maybe I don't want to be so aggressive.
Yeah.
That's why you have a very dynamic and ever-changing financial plan to answer those critical decisions. The other thing, it helps people stay in the market.
Right. Once
we figure out what someone's risk capacity is, it gives them the fortitude to stay through the markets when there's chaos, because there will be chaos. There's a 100% chance there's going to be chaos eventually.
Right.
I just don't know when. And we need a way to help people navigate and understand why they have the investments they have in their portfolio and not panic sell when the chaos happens. And if nobody's went through this process, it's the easiest way to hit the panic button. I don't know why I own this, so I shouldn't sell.
Yeah. You know what? It makes so much sense when you talk about the psychology of investing rather than just the numbers, the dollars. Anybody can get on those crazy cash cable channels and start screaming at you. But when you want a plan, a retirement plan that takes into account these 6 retirement myths that you need to be able to push to the side, do not believe Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Roger Abel is going to be able to take care of that for you. PremierIWM.com. Click Get Started, answer a few questions, get your one-page Premier Vision document, or you can call for an appointment, Roger.
800-383-6590.
Fabulous. Look forward to speaking to you again as we get deeper into the heart of football season. And, of course, football season means hunting season as well. We encourage you to check out this show anytime you want. Available on YouTube. Find Roger on Facebook. Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Until next time, we appreciate you listening and watching right here at Talk Radio 1190 AM and 1190talkradio.com through the free iHeartRadio app. For Roger Abel, I'm Doug Wagner.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide tax advice. Please consult your tax professional. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. There's no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risk.